Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here in June. Are very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. I haven't done one of these for ages. Welcome to the latest edition of the Doctor Who show. And today we're asking, or I'm asking, every Doctor Who fan out there, and I want this debated in the comments down below. Should Russell T Davies return to run Doctor Who? Do you want to know my answer? I know you do, don't you? Come and get it. Well, no, I don't think he should. Why? Let me get this absolutely abundantly clear why he shouldn't return. And first, let me tell you how I feel about Russell T Davies. Russell T Davies is my creative god. He inspired me to write. He's amazing. You can tell he cares about the people and the world that he lives in. He writes with romance, love, passion. He made Doctor Who a mainstream character, a mainstream franchise. He is the Kevin Feige of Doctor Who. And from the day he left, the show has been an absolute inconsistent mess. Yes, Moffat did some good things, but he wasn't a showrunner. That's the problem. And Chris Chibnall, well, we know Chris's political agenda, and it's destroyed the show, and it's split the fandom in two. Russell T Davies is God to me. So why don't I want him to return? Well, that's quite simple. Russell T Davies doesn't want to return to run Doctor Who. And I believe a man like Davies really needs to feel it in his veins. When he was the one, it was his idea to bring Doctor Who back. It was him who went to a pregnant Jane Tranter is her name, who was head of BBC Drama at the time, if he could have the permission to bring back Doctor Who. And she said, Russell, it's you, of course, yes. This man is a groundbreaking creative. He's responsible for Queer as Folk. He's done a lot of other great dramas since he's left running Doctor Who. Now, we know that he started to feel a bit tired with Doctor Who in the end. He was kind of running out of things to do with the character. And he said that publicly before. I don't think he wants to come back. And I don't want to see a situation where us and the BBC keep on begging him to return and he comes back and he's not feeling it. That's my problem. Now, if Russell T Davies all of a sudden has Doctor Who stories to tell, absolutely yes. Bring him back. Take my money now. It would be awesome. A Doctor of his choosing, the universe that he created, continuing Torchwood, another spin-off to replace Sarah Jane, even maybe doing a story about a missing Sarah Jane and the Doctor looking for her. That's something that I've written, because I don't like the fact that Sarah Jane was never mentioned again after kind of the Sarah Jane Adventures went off the air. And of course, Liz tragically died of cancer. I want an explanation. I don't want them to kill her off. My story is simple, really. It's simple, really. The Doctor gets a report from maybe Clyde or one of the other kids who are a bit grown up now, they're teenagers. Sarah Jane's gone missing. She's been missing for a while, but, the Doctor's been on and off planet so much they couldn't come into communication with him. Mr. Smith finally communicates with the TARDIS and tells the Doctor that Sarah Jane is missing. So the Doctor goes on this frantic search, but then he finds out that she's not actually on Earth anymore, that she was taken by an alien species to another planet. The Doctor just doesn't know which one. So the Doctor assumes she's been abducted. So there's this big search. He actually travels with Clyde through the cosmos, through the worlds, to find her. And finally, he finds Sarah Jane. And he discovers that Sarah Jane contracted cancer. And she has found a planet that can keep her cancer at bay. So if she comes back to Earth, she will die a slow, painful death. But if she stays on this planet, she will survive. And the Doctor has to have this emotional kind of thing, and where he has to accept the fact that he can never see her ever again. This is a planet that Gallifreyans can't go on. This planet is poisonous to the Time Lords. So the Doctor can't go on this planet. He can never converse with her. He can never see her, but he talks to the species that took her, who saved her life. And the Doctor embraces that person, that species, that alien, and he's happy because Sarah Jane lives on. That would be a dedication for me. A brilliant story to say, goodbye, Liz. We love you. We will never forget you. We will continue watching Classic Who, school reunion, and the Sarah Jane Adventures. And remember what you mean to this fandom and to this franchise. That's a story that I've written. Again, comments down below. Tell me what you think of that. So if Russell T Davies was interested and passionate about returning, this franchise is desperate for him. We need him to save Doctor Who. But if he's not in him, his heart's not open to return to Doctor Who, I absolutely don't want him to do it. I will repeat, I love Russell T Davies. He's amazing. Amazing man and amazing creative. You can talk to him about anything, politics, anything. The guy I can just listen to the guy talk. He's so intelligent. I watched Doctor Who Confidential because of Russell. I remember watching it after the episode Rose, how passionate he was, how he explained the process of making it, writing it. And I love him. I think he's amazing. When he was running Doctor Who, there was no negativity. I never saw much. I'm sure there were people who criticised him, and there were. They criticised some episodes, but ultimately the negativity towards him was minimal because he had Doctor Who and the character at heart. That's the difference. And I think Stephen, to a point, had it, but unfortunately the BBC political agenda got in the way of that. Now, Chris Chibnall, who I think has done some good things in his time and done okay with Doctor Who before he was a showrunner, has an agenda, has a political agenda. I don't dislike the man. I don't wish him harm. But at the end of the day, the proof of the pudding is in the eating. And I got a lot of indigestion from eating and swallowing Doctor Who Season 11. And, I think the only answer is Russell T Davies. But my problem is he shouldn't be forced to come back. He shouldn't be forced that it's his responsibility to come back, that he has to come back, like give him financial kind of rewards for coming back. Someone like Russell has to feel it. Now, I don't think he wants to come back, and that's my case. That's my point. That's my case in point. I don't think someone should come back to something that they don't want to come back to. We've seen it so many times. We've seen Chris Carter return to X-Files, and it was terrible, absolutely terrible. It has not worked because he really didn't want to come back. But they enticed him financially. He came back, and he had nothing to offer. That's the problem. And I don't want that to happen to either Doctor Who or Russell T Davies. We certainly need a showrunner that puts creativity and storytelling first and political agenda on a silent note that happens. Representation and equality and diversity should happen silently without us, without them patting themselves on the back. And Russell already did that when he was running Doctor Who, right? And I don't care what kind of actor he chooses, whether it's a person of colour, whether it's a woman, a Scotsman, an Irishman. He will choose the best person for the job. That's the point. I trust him. You trust him. We have no trust for Chibnall. And Moffat, I'm afraid, as talented as he is and as excited as I am for Dracula, because I think him and Gatiss are going to do a great job with it, like they did with Sherlock, no question about that. No ill will to them, even though Mark Gatiss blocked me ages ago because I kept on sending him Doctor Who audition videos. I don't blame him for blocking me, by the way, but I miss seeing his tweets. Someone tell him to unblock me. I'm harmless. Really, I am. Anyway, right, yes. So that's the question I'm asking today. Should he come back? And for me, it's a difficult question because, as you can see, I've got the End of Time trailer playing behind me. I think the End of Time was the most perfect climax to Russell T Davies' Doctor Who era. And really, that's the day, that New Year's Day, that was the end of Doctor Who. That's when Doctor Who died. Yes, Stephen Moffat's era had some individually great episodes, but consistently, it became a very, very underwhelming TV show. And in the end of his tenure, because he wanted out and they wouldn't allow him because they couldn't find anyone else to do it, you can see he lost his mojo really once Matt left. And that was a big shame. It broke his heart, Matt leaving, because Matt really inspired him. But, you bring in someone like Capaldi who should be inspired by Capaldi to make him the best Doctor ever. And Capaldi might have been brilliant and passionate for the role and the fans loved him, but because the orchestrator of the character had no passion anymore and no interest, he couldn't come up with making him this awesome Doctor. And that's a shame. So we are, we are at the precipice of a big cliff now. And Doctor Who can either fall off that cliff and die, or we get someone who's passionate about running this franchise and this TV show. Because there's no question about it, Russell T Davies made this mainstream, made this popular. Popular as Star Wars, as popular as DC, as popular as Marvel. It became a comic book superhero in a way. No, I'm not saying the Doctor's a superhero. I'm just saying that he did something very special with the Doctor, and it was a great show, and it was one of the biggest shows in the world. And it's a shame we don't have that anymore. We don't look forward to watching an episode of Doctor Who. We feel kind of hesitant before another episode starts. We kind of know it's gonna be underwhelming, and that's the problem that we have. So as I say, we either need a creative who's passionate enough to come in and do something extremely special and unique with this, like Russell did, or we need Russell to come back. I've always spoken about Russell being in this Godfather role where he is running the thing, kind of. He's the one employing the showrunner. I suppose it's like having a director of football. He makes the decisions who's running the thing, but then whoever's running the thing has to make the decisions. But if Russell T Davies chooses who runs Doctor Who, we have got a better chance of having an awesome Doctor Who series, an awesome Doctor Who franchise. Now, obviously, Russell chose Stephen Moffat. And I suppose on the surface, you can't blame him for that. Stephen Moffat was a rock star at that time with Doctor Who fans. People loved him for Blink, loved him for every single episode he wrote within the Russell T Davies era. They were brilliant, wasn't they? Nobody knew, but being a great storyteller doesn't mean you're going to be a great showrunner. Russell has this ability to lead people, to inspire people, to make the right decisions, but still not let his storytelling be effective. So he's an all-round great leader. And Stephen Moffat is a great writer, but he's not necessarily a great leader. And I think at times maybe the power went to his head, and I think there were problems with it. No question. No matter how much I respect him, I've got to be honest about people, because I think that's what you guys expect. And I think it's no good me being a shill. It's important that I actually talk the truth. And the truth is that Stephen Moffat ran Doctor Who in an inconsistent way, and that's a big shame. And now with Doctor Who, we've got this female Doctor. Now, Whittaker's a really good actor. She should be... Look, there's no reason why Whittaker shouldn't be a great Doctor. I think in The Woman Who Fell to Earth, she was showing some potential. But, again, it's up to the orchestrator, the showrunner, the writer. And Chibnall made too many mistakes, and he's made her look bad. I just said this to someone, actually, who talks a lot about Doctor Who. And I said, the problem is they watered down the character. They dumbed down the character because she's a woman. And there's nothing more sexist, my friend, than that. Instead of keeping her being the Doctor, but giving her new stories, new dynamics and new arcs, they decided because she's a woman, they had to go, I suppose, in a feminine way with her. And it really hasn't worked. Well, it hasn't worked, has it? I know some people love her, and that's great. I'm happy for you that you're still enjoying your Doctor Who. That's awesome. That's what I want to feel. I even think another showrunner with Whittaker would work. I know some people wouldn't want that, but I reckon give Russell T Davies, Jodie. Right. This is my challenge to Russell T Davies, right? Have Jodie Whittaker for a year, and you would see an awesome Doctor, a popular show. No question about that. He could make her an awesome Doctor. Anyone could. She's an actor. She will perform and she will do whatever you tell her to. I know there's rumours of her making demands that this is in it, that's in it. But with Russell T Davies, she isn't going to get away with that. Do you understand what I'm saying? She's worked with Chris Chibnall before. There's obviously a familiar relationship. And if she barks, he gets a bit frightened. I think with Russell T Davies, no one's going to dictate to Russell what he does, because he's one of the most successful creatives in the world. So going back to my original question, yes, I want Russell T Davies back. I think he's the only one who can save the whole thing and give us back the great show we had when he was running it. My only point is, if he hasn't got the passion for it, then he shouldn't come back. But if he wants to do it, I would absolutely open those TARDIS doors for him. So please comment down below. Please let me know what you think. Do you want Russell T Davies back running this show? Or are you like me? We only want him back if he's got the passion and he's got the imagination to be running Doctor Who again. I mean, who will get the job after Chibnall? I mean, a lot of people talk about the next Doctor. The next Doctor isn't important. It's irrelevant. You can have any actor that you want. If you've got the wrong showrunner who has no idea about this character and doesn't get it and has, thinks political agenda is more important than creating a great story and a great drama and a great TV show, then you're lost. So it doesn't matter who Chibnall brings back, whether it's the Cyberman, the Master, it really doesn't matter if he's got no clue how to create an awesome, epic, exciting Doctor Who. So I think they are going to replace him. I know there's a lot of rumours that that's not going to happen now. It depends on season 12. He could turn it around. Season 12 could be a whole course correction. It could be amazing. There's already rumours of that. And if he gives me a great season 12, I'm fine. I forget about season 11 and as a blip, as a misstep. We will have to wait and see. There's also rumours that the brand new season is back January 2020. Don't believe that. I think there might be a special January 2020 New Year's Day. But where are we now? November. They would need to announce it. But there's still time for them to announce it. We'll see what happens there. I don't think a new season is going to start in January. I think March, April is when the new season will start. And hopefully sooner or later we'll get some kind of announcement. The problem is they haven't been to any comic convention this year, which is strange. There's been no talk about the brand new season. We're starting to see Jodie take some pictures with fans. There's going to be a comic relief sketch. I mean, there's already been rumours about that maybe it's with David Tennant, because there's a rumour of a special where Jodie talks down to David Tennant and talks about how, bad the previous male doctors have been. I think it is a comic relief special. We'll see if that's true or not as well. But as I say, I'm a Doctor Who fan, and I want nothing more than this show to be amazing. And it really doesn't bother me at this stage that Jodie's female. I just want her to be given something to get her teeth around, something amazing, something exciting, something awesome. We want Doctor Who to be exciting. We want to be excited about Doctor Who again. And if Chris Chibnall can do that, brilliant. If he can't, he has to go. Because one thing that cannot be allowed is for Doctor Who to be no more.